Welcome to That American Football Show, powered by EP Sports. EP Sports is the top supplier in the UK for all of your American football needs, helping players and coaches reach their potential since 2007. Check them out at epsports.co.uk. So we've got 3 or 4 out of the gang here. Craig's unfortunately away with the business, but majority ruling is always better than none, especially when it comes to the power rankings that we'll get into. But Joe, looks a bit warm down there.
Yeah, as I was saying beforehand, it's hot in the UK, and especially in my area, sort of in the southeast. So not much rain at all for about the last month. So yeah, the windows have been open and the fan's been on every night for about a month straight now, which isn't nice.
Need to keep the window closed.
Closed?
Apparently, if you keep everything closed, it keeps the cold air in. But if you open it up, you just let in warm air in.
See, the problem is I get that, and I understand downstairs that works. Upstairs, when I have like the sun, because I've got blinds rather than like curtains, so it comes through and the heat stays in. I have a thermometer on my alarm clock, and it says like sometimes if I was to close the windows, it'd be 31 degrees in my room going to bed, and that's just not on. If I get 25, I'm happy now.
That's unpleasant.
Yeah, not too nice.
How's it up in Scotland, Tim?
Cold. Nah, it's been all right actually. It's been in the 20s, so it's not been bad for Scotland.
Take that.
Nice and grey in Manchester, just as always.
Well, what do you expect?
Exactly. Good bit of football over this weekend. I thought some pretty competitive matches, some very uncompetitive matches as well. But before we get into that, any news that's cropping about? There's not too much really. All the signings have been made.
Yeah, signings front has calmed down quite a bit, especially quarterbacks and things like that. It's just more of sort of what happened in the games this week where the talking points came from.
Yeah, and I think is it not the signing deadline this week for adding players for the rest of the season? So there's another bye week. All teams, there's no games this week. All teams are on a bye week, which is a bit odd, seeing as they had 2 bye weeks 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's definitely where they'll look to implement. Like JJ and Clark obviously had to step in with like a day's practice, so he's going to get a lot of time to familiarise himself.
Yeah, I wonder if they get a bit of a mini summer break or anything, or if it's just going to be purely, let's get this sorted. We've got a big push, especially say like teams like the Fire who need a big finish to the season.
I mean, looking at Instagram, all the players seem like they're on holiday every day.
That's true. That is true. Especially the Barcelona boys. They seem like they're having a great time always.
Speaking of Barcelona, let's get into the Saturday game. We had I think it was the Rhine Fire visiting Barcelona. And the Dragons take the win 33-23. Pretty competitive game up until the last bits where the Dragons did kind of seal it and put it away, but it's a good game all over. I think that you see the Dragons were winning with the like big penetrating D line, and Zach was doing what he needs to, and that's how they win those games.
For sure. It was a massive game in just the context of the season. This was it really. If the Dragons were to lose, go 3 losses in a row and end up being on the same record as the Fire, that would just put the Southern Division sort of into a real tough situation for the Dragons where they were 2 weeks ago. So big game for them and impressive as well, because you'd think their confidence may be knocked a bit, but
stop the slide.
Yeah, they came back strong.
I think the score flattened the Dragons a little bit, because it went right down to the wire, and the Fire were driving, which would have leveled them, or they would have been within 1 score anyway. And then there was a fumble that the Dragons returned for a touchdown, which was a bit unlucky really, because Fire played well. It was actually Jadrian's only his second 300-yard game in the ELF, but first one was in the championship game last year, so he played well. Yeah,
and when you're looking at it, considering they've got Jadrian who's just been thrown into that offense, he played really well.
Yeah, him and Robitaille seem to have a decent connection sort of straight away, which is good to see. You always want
Robitaille's an animal.
Yeah, so good.
And I think it was quite nice to see Michael Sam back on the field as well, considering what happened in Istanbul. So that's good news.
Definitely. On to the next game. Another belter. Galaxy at the Wrocław Panthers comes down to a last-second field goal Galaxy, I don't believe, had the lead at any point. Panthers had a huge first half. Malik Stanley looked like an absolute weapon again. And then, I mean, everyone on that Galaxy team pulled together. Like Sullivan Sullivan escaped out of a pocket, and I don't understand how he did that. He's won some really big plays to get him there. Like, fair play to the Galaxy for taking that win, because that was hard fought.
But this is this game summed up the Galaxy for me just in a nutshell. This is their season. It's the Panthers defense really showed up in the first half, but the inconsistency of the Galaxy, they managed to obviously save themselves pretty well with some very good football, and it was their mid-game management. You know, they were almost down and out in the. I watched the first half in its entirety, and I just thought, the Galaxy aren't gonna come back here. The Panthers are on their game, and they just managed to completely, just turn it around. I don't even know. Even watching the game now, like Sullivan was brilliant. Both QBs had a good game, as I thought, but they just somehow, like, it almost felt like, even though obviously they scored more points, I still feel as if the Panthers scored more points in that game. It's just one of those weird ones. You just think, how have they managed that? But it was clutch from Rimler, 51-yard field goal. Just a great way to go and get a win, and a massive one for the Galaxy, because if they lost, that was playoff hopes pretty slim.
And coming back from 20-0 down at one point. Pretty good. I think it might be the biggest turnaround of the season so far.
Yeah, it was a really good game on all fronts, I think. And the Galaxy can't really drop another game if they want to have a chance.
Yeah, and it's a shame in a way that the Panthers lost, considering they had one of the plays of the season with the fake punt on their own 40.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That's such a high risk, high reward play, and it came off. And it's for them, they'll be gutted that they didn't get the win even with doing that.
I feel like it was they tried 2 fake punts in that game as well.
They do like to try these fun little plays, but
I'm all for it. I love a trick.
Oh yeah, keep them coming.
Right. Where have the Istanbul Rams come from? They take the Hamburg Sea Devils to the wire, 29-26. They had a 17-0 lead at some point, I think. I mean, fair play for Hamburg for fighting back and taking the win, but Istanbul, I'm so pleased with them.
3 weeks ago, they lost 17-0 to this team, and it wasn't just me that was saying, this is it, good try, Rams, they should move the franchise. But to be fair, all they've done is, I think it was 4 new players came in after that game, I think, but obviously the quarterback's new, the wide receiver, Robinson, and obviously Green, the quarterback, and what a difference it's made to the whole team. People are writing them off, and they should have won this game. Obviously, the Sea Devils are probably a better organised team, and they came back, and the Rams were in it. I thought they were going to win this game.
I don't know if you've seen this, but the Rams in the game, when the Rams were 17-7 up, 4th and 2 by the end zone, so they needed like 2 yards for a touchdown. They had 12 men on their offense on the field, and that is the play they scored on. There's been a lot. There's some people who don't like the Hamburg Sea Devils at all, and they put a lot of shtick into them. But they are starting to get some sort of villainy attitude, because a lot of things seem to go their way on the ref side.
It was a pretty obvious one, especially, and I must say this is one of the only things I've ever liked that the ELF memes has posted, but there's a ref whose job it is to count the number of players on the fields. And it wasn't like he was running on and off. Sometimes he's slightly dubious. They were lined up and there were 12 of them. So, yeah, it's
poor. You want that consistency, don't you, really? It's a tough one. You say, especially when they scored on that play. It's there's been a couple plays this season now, isn't it? Because it was against Wroclaw that was contested. I know some people talked about it differently, but it's still something that was noticed by people. But look, the Sea Devils, if they get that reputation, they'll feed off it. They're such a hard-hitting team. Giving them a reputation like that can only help them, I think.
I think they start to use Gene Constant a bit more, which is always good. And obviously, even on a day when they weren't at their best, Tonga got 125 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. So, he's a machine.
Yeah, and good. Also good kicking from the Rams kicker as well. I think he hit 5 out of 5, or 4 out of 4, something like that, which was great. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to Gio Nangai, who obviously had a horrific injury, was on the floor for about 25 minutes or so, and they had to get 2 ambulances on to take him off. So I haven't heard or seen anything, but I hope that he recovers well.
Definitely. Next game, Raiders slaughter the Kings. The Kings really haven't been putting up much of a fight the past couple of weeks. 56-14. I think it was like 31-0 at the half or something. Like, I was watching the highlights and I saw the score and I was like, okay, it's nearly done. And then the commentator was like, and the half is here. And I was like, what? It was the 2 touchdowns the Kings got were great. Like, they've got a fantastic receivers on that team, but nothing else.
Yeah, it was probably the best quarterback performance of the season. Sean Shelton was 30 of 36, 438 yards and 5 touchdowns, which means he now leads the league in yardage. So, he had a great game. I think there was a lot of anger in a lot of the plays from the Raiders after what happened to them last week before against the Vikings. So they had a point to prove, and they certainly proved it. It's always a bit weird when they were that far ahead. I don't think it wasn't until the middle of the fourth quarter the backup quarterback came on.
And he threw a Hail Mary.
Tim, that's so weird. I literally wrote down word for word what you just said there. Sean probably had the QB performance of the season. Yeah, it was that good, and I'm so glad I made him, put him in my fantasy team, because I saw what he did to the Kings last time, and I thought, you know what, he might do it again, even with a QB change for the Kings. But look, the Kings, I'm out of giving them excuses. I think now they're just they haven't shown too much in the last 3 weeks or so. I think they're kind of just looking to get to the end of the season now, which is a shame.
Yeah, I think the power rankings are getting spicy again, because the teams that had maybe glued themselves to another, they've all kind of split up.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll get to that. Vikings poop on the Surge, 41-0. Like, the Surge did, like, if you watch the highlights, you don't even see the Surge on the offense, I don't think. Vikings just do what they do best and just steamrolled them.
Yeah, so Van Dieven's gone quiet. They tried to run first with Cornwall at the moment, and the Vikings
good as well. He is good.
He is good, but I think as well they've come against the Vikings, which for me probably are the best defense in the league. I think that's what's won them so many games. It's not easy to go up against. Let the Surge just forget that one, move on, and try and do all right next week. Don't know who they're playing, but with their schedule, it's probably someone pretty good.
Yeah. Last game. Cologne Centurions 29, Berlin Thunder 39. A good game. The Cologne did try to keep it as close as they could. But Berlin, along with like the Raiders and the Galaxy, I think they're the teams that have really had a much stronger second season than the second half of the season. The Thunder look like a good team right now. Like they're beating teams the way that they don't feel like flukes. Like they are putting solid performances onto the field.
And fair play, you called it week 2, I think it was, Adam. You said the Thunder are a team to watch. So you're right. I feel sorry a bit for Cologne, really. They're a bit of a mess, to be honest. You know, because you look at the running back they got in Mac. He had a cracking game, led the league in rushing for one game, but they lost their quarterback. So they actually had Quentin Pounds playing quarterback for most of the games. So, you know, if they had the running game, like last year, if they built on the running game, I know they lost Marco London, but if they got this Mac guy in earlier and had Weinreich playing as he had been, they would be doing well. But at the moment, I think that's 6 in a row they've lost.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's hard to get out one of those runs, but I'm more Quentin Pounds at quarterback, please. He is just happy to chuck it and pray, which is always good fun to watch. I think he had some really good throws, actually, some of them, and it's always fun to watch a left-hander. But
he had a few bad ones though.
He did, which was the other side of it. But he's fun. He's just a fun player wherever he plays, because that's what quarterback, wide receiver he's played, and also quarterback he was playing. You said Tim. Yeah, so that was good. Note on the Thunder, Wilczek is becoming one of the best players in the league. He's just massive for them. I think he's possibly the main reason. I know Carl Kitchens, his performances have improved, and that's been a big reason for the Thunder's sort of push forward. But them having a bit more on offense rather than just handing it off to Jock Crawford and him and Germanario having that combat.
Yeah, Germanario's gotten visibly better as the season's gone.
I definitely agree with that. And it's, it's all good for the Thunder. I think I was trying to have a look at their schedule. I know that they play the Raiders last game of the season, which could be a very tasty one for playoffs.
I think Wilczek is the best non-American wide receiver statistically.
Yeah, statistically, I reckon, he should be. Because I think for the last 5 games or so, he's hit at least like around the 100-yard mark.
Is July an import?
Who?
Alfred.
July and Double Wolf are also pretty good. I'm trying to think of non-exports.
July's Swedish.
I've got the stats here. So you've got number 1 is Sweet, then Pounds, then Stanley, then Robitaille, then Constant, and then Wilczek. That's based on yards.
Yeah. So
I mean, definitely one of the best. Yeah, I pick him most weeks on fantasy now.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Me too.
But let's get into the power rankings then. So last week, you and Joe and Craig managed to get from 12th to 1st. You got the Surge, the Rams, the Centurions, the Kings, the Panthers, the Thunder, the Fire, the Galaxy, Raiders, Dragons, Hamburg, and the Vikings. Can we all agree Surge is staying at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the easiest one.
Yeah.
And boys, I think the Rams don't deserve to be 11th anymore.
I agree with you.
Really? Okay.
I think
that they nearly beat Hamburg.
They beat the Dragons and nearly beat Hamburg.
Yeah.
That's got to count more than both the Centurions and the Kings at this point.
I agree.
I think so. It's just such a shame because the Centurions have got a lot of talent on that team, but they're not winning. And,
well, I've got the Kings 11th now.
Yeah, same.
Kings.
Yeah, I'm seriously so unimpressed with them.
Okay.
And they got battered. They got the other 2 didn't get battered. The other 2 were in their games.
True. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that.
And then for the sake of like how good they are right now, the Rams have beaten the Dragons and then nearly beaten Hamburg. Cologne have lost 6 in a row.
Can't argue with that, actually.
No, I can't. The thing is, because this means the Rams go 9th. I never thought I'd see that.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see 11th. But
can you imagine at week 2 it said that eventually the Rams would be higher ranked than the Centurions, who are unbeaten at week 2.
Well, it was a close game.
2 performances week in, week out that they put it towards a good team, a top tier team.
Yeah, and they're a different side now, and that's evident.
They don't even look like the personnel. Same team.
Their defense is very good now.
I don't get how they changed that quickly. And it's like, obviously,
I think it's confidence.
When you put a good quarterback on a team, it's such a difference.
I don't know if he's a good quarterback. I think he's just so, I don't know. He's like a high school quarterback where you don't actually know what he's going to do. He's so athletic and talented. I don't think it's play calling. I think he just does it on the hop. He's just like going to run about and chuck it or run for it. It's like you said,
longest yard, that playground bullshit.
So when I used to play, I used to say to Simon, I'll run over there, you throw it somewhere near me and I'll catch it.
Okay, so we agreed. Surge, Kings, Centurions, Rams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who goes here? Panthers?
Yeah,
they do. I think it's one of those where I feel as if they should have done better than how they are, and they're a much better team than 8th, but they are 8th based on results.
I think there's a step from like 11, 12, 11, 10, from 9th to 8th.
There's same. There's a big gap.
Yeah.
And then who do we put here? Is it Fire?
Oh, I've got Fire. Yeah.
It's got to be.
Mainly because the Thunder are on a 6-game winning streak, and they're looking good. So I've got them above the Fire.
Yeah, I think the first big debate is Galaxy or Thunder.
I would still put Thunder below.
Yeah.
Just because I don't necessarily disagree. I think the Thunder you put over the top, but I think it weighs more to keeping Galaxy on top.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's close. I think it's a lot closer than people think. I think when you think of Galaxy, you look at the name rather than sort of like how they performed this year. But yeah, just.
And then top 4, Vikings are obviously still top.
Yeah.
Not
By
going
a
to.
long way.
This is where these 3 start to mingle.
So I don't change anything from last week personally.
I'm exactly the same as you, Joe.
Sea Devils, Dragons, Raiders.
Yeah, I just thought they are closer together than the other team.
I think so too. I think that's it's a close call, and though they could change depending on next week's results, but that they all won.
That has got to be our quickest power rankings of all time.
I know.
So to conclude, there's some of the biggest shakeups, especially at the bottom end. We've got Surge at 12, Kings at 11th, Centurions at 10th, the Rams at 9th, single digits, Panthers at 8th, Fire at 7th, Thunder at 6th, Galaxy at 5th, Raiders 4th, Dragons 3rd, Sea Devils 2nd, Vikings 1st. So yeah, biggest free fall is Kings dropping from 9th to 12th, 11th, 10th. Yeah, 9th to 11th. Then everyone else basically shifts up one or stays the same.
I'm having a look here at the playoff picture now as well. Just thought I'd bring it up. Interesting, the in the hunt bit. So you've got, as it stands, the Raiders going to the Vikings, 4th versus 1. And then you've got the Dragons going to the Sea Devils, 3rd versus 2nd. Then in the hunt, the next seed up is the Thunder. Then it's the Fire. Then it's the Galaxy. Then it's the Panthers.
How's that possible?
So that's what I thought, but it's because the Fire are 2nd in their group.
Right. Because the Galaxy have got a better record than the Fire. So I was confused when I saw
the
that.
Galaxy, though?
Sorry?
Have the Thunder beaten the Galaxy?
No, I don't think they've played. Yeah,
it just looks weird that you've got one team with a lower record above another team, but
it's based on best second place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which at the moment, is that.
I like that. I wanted to stick as the 2 Austrian teams playing, and then Germany, and Hamburg, Barcelona. I think that's the funnest.
Yeah,
I think it's set up so the Raiders have lost twice to the Vikings, then meet them in the playoffs, and then spank them in the playoffs.
Have Hamburg played the Vikings, and do they play the Vikings?
Don't think so.
That would be fun as well to put those 2 against each other, because then it would have been Raiders, Dragons, and Vikings, Hamburg, who haven't played each other.
The thing is, though, I don't think Vikings are going to have that number 1, aren't they? Therefore, Raiders are going to have that number 4.
True.
So it must be,
the Vikings only must need to win a couple more games to guarantee them the number 1 seed, surely.
Yeah.
Hamburg and Dragons both got 2 losses, haven't they?
Hamburg next week is Vikings at Galaxy, as in week after next. So that could, shake things up.
Yeah.
And you've got the Kings going to Hamburg. So, they could be level, and then things get interesting. I mean, the Vikings have got Rams, Dragons, and Panthers to see it out, but they've got to go to Wrocław on the last day. So you never know. It's always, as I'm saying, it's hard to win in Wrocław. The Galaxy proved that this week.
Okay. So there's the power rankings. Let us know what you think about them. I think that's a very agreeable list, but we'll see how the public think, because we always get the Galaxy too low. But yeah, we'll get these out on social medias. Let us know what your lists are. Let us know where we're wrong. Let us know where we're right. So we've gone over a couple of games next week as well. Fantasy football. If you've not been doing that, make sure you're following them on Instagram. It's ELF. Is it firstdown.elf? We story them a lot, so just
just look at that.
But yeah, get on the fantasy football every Friday, and it is good fun. I think I'm in the top 10 globally, which is nice to see. Yeah, Joe's put in like 2 weeks worth of not eligible rosters.
Yeah, I keep missing out. I'm not on Instagram at the moment, so I don't have a clue how I'm doing. So any updates would be nice.
Yeah, we'll get them for next time. Anything else you want to go over, boys?
I don't think so. I think we'll work out what we're going to do for next week, as there's a bye week.
Yeah, we'll maybe get some players on. If you want any particular players on to interview, just let us know. We'll try and reach out to them and get them on. But you can check us out on all our social medias, which they can find where, Joe?
Yep, Twitter, Instagram at TAFS_UK, and our Facebook is That American Football Show. All above us there if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, and if you're not watching us on YouTube, look for That American Football Show with the first thing that'll pop up. And if you do listen to us, like and subscribing does really help us grow the channel and generally get better things. So please do.
I want to give a quick shout out to a book that we're reading at the moment. We're going to be interviewing the author in the next month or so. It's called Spies on the Sidelines, The High Stakes World of NFL Espionage by Kevin Bryant. You can get it on Amazon, Smith's, Waterstones, and we'll be speaking to Kevin in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all love to shit on the Patriots a little bit.
Apparently so.
But yeah, it is the bye week, so whatever you're doing, you've got some weekends free to appease the other half. So thank you all for listening. Make sure you head over and check out our friends at EP Sports for all your NFL or equipment needs, and we will see you next time.